Hi everyone, welcome to another stream. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Today we are going to make a model sheet for TeeBee's dad. And TeeBee's dad, the character's title and everything is going to be Papa. He is very kind, very intelligent, he's a little bit inventive, he's very supporting, and he uses these crutches that he invented himself. And this character is based on my boss's actual dad in real life. So I've pulled out every single piece of art I've ever made of the dad so that I can reference it when making this model sheet. And I've done this. I'm going to start by making a character turnaround. And let me pull out some paper. Oh, that one doesn't have any blank pages. Hold on. Let me find a good thing of mixed media paper. Should have done this before stream. Oh well. Alright, drawing paper, that'll work. And I'm going to heavily base this character design off of the lovely illustration that my coworker did for the fair episode. So let's prop that up so that I can see it and you guys can also kind of see it. Oh, and I should slip my stylus back in because we're doing this traditionally so that you guys can see it better. And where'd my pencil go? One moment, everyone. Gotta find my pencil. Oh, wait. No, it's in here. I found it. Found my backpack. And my pencil's gonna be in my backpack. So let's take out a bunch of different supplies, because we might need them. And let's get to work. So I'm going to start by taking out a piece of drawing paper from this sketchbook and turning on our magical little light table. And that's finally going to be useful for our purposes here. So I'm going to trace my favorite traditional piece of concept art for the dad onto this piece of paper. And that's just going to be step one. And making a model sheet is important, especially if you're working with other people, because it helps everyone stay on the same page. Because then the character will look pretty much the same in all the shots and stuff. And because this isn't just going to be a children's book, this is going to be a cartoon, it's important for everyone to try and stay on roughly the same model of character. You don't always have to make a model sheet. Steven Universe, for example, didn't have model sheets until I think season 4. Because Rebecca Sugar wanted the storyboard artists to have creative freedom in their interpretations of the characters, and also because most of the main characters of that show are shapeshifters. So those are characters who wouldn't even stay consistent in themselves from day to day. They would change and shift and figure out who they are on a regular basis. And, you know, it's the same as how you might change your clothes every day and wear a different outfit every day because you feel like a slightly different person. Same was true in the concept of that show, not using model sheets. But I don't think that there's going to be any shapeshifters in TeeBee's Adventures. So it's going to be important for everyone to stay on model because they're all pretty much just normal humans. I mean, normal humans in the way that any human could be normal, because we're all extraordinary in our own special ways. You know? Like, every person on Earth is special and unique and interesting in their own way. And I think that's wonderful. And I think that, you know, maybe not a highlight for TeeBee's Adventures is that theme. The TeeBee's Adventures is more about, you know, the very small circle, like the small circle of friends and family and people that TeeBee cares about for the moment. We try to make, like, the diversity of humankind very prominent in the background characters and stuff. But the main characters are pretty tight-knit, small group for now. Because we've only got 4 episodes. And you don't want to get your narrative too cluttered when you're just starting out. It's good to stay focused and tell the stories that you want to tell. And when doing TeeBee's dad, he's got this kind of bow-legged stance. He braces his feet against each other to provide more balance for himself in sort of a warrior pose. And there we are. You have TeeBee's dad. Or at least a trace of one version of him. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this big. And I'm going to do my thing so that he stays in place. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta turn up the brightness all the way, turn off night shift, and center him. Actually, I'm gonna make a version of this that's edited. And now that'll stay put while I draw on top. And I'm going to turn off this light here so I can see better. And I'm actually going to turn off my main light too. So now we're doing another trace of the character. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make a third drawing with these two as reference to get like a main character model down. And you know, tracing can be good sometimes. Like, if you are tracing a piece of art, don't claim it as your own. Like, give credit where credit is due. But if you're just like trying to figure out how someone did something, it can be a good exercise in trying to figure out like where the forms and stuff are. When I was a kid, what I used to do is I used to trace comic panels to see how the characters were structured. Like, I traced a lot of Archie comics. And sometimes I like, you know, draw my own outfits on top just to like figure out how the forms would work. And I would actually take photography sometimes and trace over that, and that's a technique called rotoscoping. So if you ever find yourself stuck and don't quite know what to do, set up a camera, like your phone or whatever, and hit video record with like the screen facing you so you can see yourself. And then do the like pose that you're trying to do. And then you can go to the exact frame that captures what you're trying to do and then trace over that, and that can give you a sense of like how to do it when you're ready to stylize it. Or if you just wanted to do that, like, I mean, you took the picture yourself. Of yourself. Or of a friend, if you have a friend who's willing to help you out. Be your model. And if you really want to be an animator or an artist that works a lot with characters, it's this thing called, what's it called again? I don't want to say speed drawing because that's not the word I'm trying to think of. Figure drawing. When you're figure drawing, and what figure drawing is you take a look at, you know, people in real life. Sometimes you'll have like a volunteer model or something. There's a good website called Line of Action that gives you like a rotating carousel of all different kinds of people, like models doing poses that you can use to test it out. Oh, I missed a line. Okay. And now we have two different pictures of TeeBee's dad. Now let's try to see if we can make them friends. What I'm gonna do is I have this thing of his cane, of his crutches that I made. Actually, maybe I won't do that. What I was going to do is I was going to trace it, but... Actually, I might do... Let me get a pair of scissors. I might try to make these two friends. So, actually, I'm gonna look. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna try to make one drawing that will work best. And now what we're figuring out is the shape language of this character. So he's got a big chest like Superman. He's got broad shoulders, big arms, skinny legs, always bow-legged. And let's and actually I think that his legs should be tilted a bit more this way in his usual stance. And I'm actually going to pull up I think I have a reference thing of him somewhere in here. Do I have a reference collage of the dad? I knew I made one somewhere. Let me find it. Sorry about this. And I'm just organizing some stuff real quick here. Found it. Knew I had it somewhere. Reference collage. So the way he stands is but we want him to still look inviting, so. Let's do a flip check. It's leaning too much to the side. So, my coworker was actually right on that one, in terms of where the legs should be. And the reason why I'm making a new image instead of just using the one from the illustration is because I want him to be looking up a bit. This is his, this model sheet would be like his neutral stance. And usually his arms actually go out a bit when he's holding. It's more of an outward than an inward. Which does admittedly, I think the reason why my coworker had his arms going inward is because that makes him have a cleaner silhouette but how about instead, to make that silhouette cleaner, we just make the shoulders a bit broader. More visible shapes in the character design. And these crutches are, I think what the design idea is that the, so it's basically like 1/2 of your standard hospital crutches. So that it's lighter and when you're a lighter mobility aid is almost always better from what I've researched. Because then they're easier to maneuver. You've got those little screws in there at the front. My coworker put this crutch next to him, but it's usually in front, isn't it? So let's tilt this foot out a bit more to accommodate space for that crutch to touch down where it needs to. Let's make that go a bit more out, actually. Almost there. Backwards check. See, this is why it's important to do your backwards checks. Because sometimes things end up leaning a lot towards the curve of your, like, dominant hand. So it's good to acknowledge that art will do that, and it, like, when you focus too much on curving one direction, it ends up wonky in the other. And we're probably going to use flippable sprites for this show, because most of the characters have pretty symmetrical styles, except for the mom. But her hair is fabulous. I think that's it's a good trade-off, and it's what my boss's mom in real life wanted. Originally what I was thinking was like giving her this bun. It's like kind of sporty, practical bun, but she wanted more style. And you know, you can respect that. She sent me like a bunch of selfies like, no, this is how my hair should be. This is how my fashion is. And I was like, alright, cool. And I leaned more towards the style that she had in the selfies that she wanted. And there we go. Now that's more steady, more stable. And we're probably going to be reusing this again for when we do our turnaround for the back. Let's make this eye a little bit smaller. It's another shape language thing that you can do is grown-ups tend to have smaller eyes than kids do. And like, when I'm talking about these, there's always exceptions to every rule, you know? Like, sometimes you want a character who's, like, lopsided in a specific way, so you purposefully don't flip the canvas. Or you want a character who is an adult with really big eyes, so that they're relatable, or if it's, like, a special quality about them. Or if, like I've been watching Lego Monkey Kid a lot, and in that show, the show tells you who's a kid and who's an adult by, like, the narrative itself, more than the characters' designs. Because, you know, and, like, the main character's name is Monkey Kid, but he's, like, 19. Which is still, you know, it's kind of a kid. It's like a college kid. But, you know, an adult kid. I remember being 19. I remember being 19 and, yeah, kid is a word that suits that age. At least for me, but I'm neurodivergent, so I grew up a little bit slower. Mentally wise. But that's good, because I think I turned out really good in the end. That's maybe a little too angular of a face. Let's soften that up a bit. Okay, yeah. And now let's put that on a clean piece of paper. I'm putting these up here as like reference. I'm dividing this paper into thirds so that, like, front facing, side facing, back facing. And he's got a beard, and I can already tell that that beard is gonna get forgotten a lot in the animation. But that's okay, we can remember it for most of it. Not because it's not, you know, an important part of the character design, but because, like, you know, every once in a while, you'll come up with a character design, and there will be a detail on the character design, and you can tell that people are, that, like, you know, you're gonna forget about it. Because it's a detail. And that's fine, you know, there's plenty of shows with details like that that get forgotten sometimes. Like in Gravity Falls, when Stan had an injured hand for a little while, and they actually did pretty well with the continuity of that for the most part. They, like, gave him a hand bandage for a lot of the show. Like, half a season or something. And I like that. It's good detail. But they did forget it sometimes. Which is understandable, you know. It wasn't probably part of his original model sheets. And it is a unique detail to those few episodes. And it's sort of the thing that's meant to be subtle. So it's easy to forget about. And one of the jobs of people making model sheets is to take note of these details and write notes about it so that other people don't, like, you know, so that both you and the people you're working with don't forget about them. Like, I'm gonna probably make a note to try and keep the crutches in front of the character unless he's in a motion cycle. Actually, let me make a note right now. There we go. And now that I've made that note, hopefully people will remember it. And I'm also trying to, like, simplify the design a little bit for animation purposes. Because, like, in a book with illustrations, you only have to draw one picture of each, like, scene that you want to depict. So it's okay to be a little more detailed. But when you're in animation, you have to draw those characters a lot. So simplifying the design can make it easier to focus less on the, like, little details of the character and more on how the character moves. So in most of these designs I gave him a little Nike swipe on his shoes. I'm probably going to skip that here in the model sheet because he's animated. And the crutches have enough, like, detail in themselves that he's already going to be, like, you know, he's going to need unique movement. Which every character should have unique movement, but... Ah, look at him! Okay, flip check, just in case. Ah, look at him! I only have a few notes for myself here. In, like, and that's mostly in the slope of these shoulders and in these knees. I actually kind of like those shapes. Let's make this a little more slopey. Let's make this a little more tapered. And when I draw these crutches, I try to think of, like, horses, like horse hooves and legs, because this is kind of how, like, the shape of a horse's legs would be. or of, you know, any equine creature, like a goat. And that makes it easier to remember what shape it's supposed to be in. Oh, this needs to be aligned with the rest of the crutch. Hold on. I like those lines, actually. Don't need to be... Yeah, that's good. And the face is good. Now let's go back here and make those adjustments. And you kind of have to do, like, redo your work like this a lot in any industry, like in any part of the entertainment industry. My dad's an actor-playwright, and what he tells me, and this is very silly, is don't be afraid to kill your babies. And I think what he means by that is not like, you know, kill babies, but it's if you're really attached to something that you created, don't be afraid to, like, sometimes you have to rework it and you're really attached to what you've created, but if you know deep in your heart that it'll work better if it's done differently, then you kind of have to. You know? Don't be afraid to rework concepts, even if you put a lot of heart and effort into them. Don't be afraid to make things better if you know things will work better in a different way. And if you're really, really attached to a concept or something, that's something that you can still share as, like, bonus content. Like, DVDs do that all the time. You'll have, like, cut scenes and stuff. Actually, I miss DVDs with, like, cutscenes and stuff, because that's, you know, it's a good thing to keep in mind. Is that things will be different. Okay, and now that we've done the front, let's do the back. Actually, hold on, let me get a ruler. Actually, I'm gonna get that same circle sheet. Hold on. And what we're doing here is we're about to make some guidelines. So top of the head. Wait, no, this way. Bottom of foot upper. Bottom of foot lower. Bottom of crutch. Foot lower lines with crutch upper. Line of crutch. Line of knee. Line of bottom of pants. Line of elbow. bottom of shirt is basically the same as crotch, but let's mark that down anyway. Line of bottom of chest. Line of armpit. Line of shoulder. Line of eyes. Line of chin. And line of nose. Okay, so now we've got some good guidelines for where to put everything in the other parts of his design. So let's line that up. And I'm not gonna like trace this all the way entirely. Because the point of this is to sort of get the idea of where everything is. And there's the other end of his crutch. There's the other end of his crutch. Let's put his ear here. Because human heads are pretty complex, we're not going to go like tracing this exactly over. Like, you don't want to do what is, you want to do what looks good sometimes. But the reason why we do this handy little trick is because it helps us figure out, like, because the lines will basically be the same. The silhouette will be almost exactly the same. Let's make this like lower because it's the back. Let's bring this out this way. Let's make a line of action. Yeah, that's basically fine for now. You know, I'll probably go in and fix it later, but for now, let's do a side view, a profile. I need to plug back into this. Here we go. Actually, this face is a little bit lower, isn't it? So let's bring the nose higher for the profile anyway. And with the style of the noses that I thought of for this is that noses in the show will always have like a shape attached to it to cover all of the, and I was inspired by my boss's childhood photos that he sent me to design TeeBee, and he had this really like round little button nose almost, and I thought that that would be best illustrated not by a couple of closed open curves, but by a full closed circle. And in order to, and like it's a way to simplify the character design, it's a way to keep everything together, and that creates a unique shape language for the show and the book as a whole. You know? Of this sort of over the garden wall-esque almost face shape language of the nose is defined by a shape that is attached to, you know, more lines that define the bridge. And let's bring in his eyes. They should be smaller than that. There we go. And let's define his lips a little bit. Maybe the top of it, the lip, is like this almost mustachy cartoon thing. There we go. Let's actually bring this eye and eyebrow lower, as well as the nose bridge. There he is! Oh, I love it. Very soulful eyes. And let's make that chin a little more defined, a little more. There we go. And ear, and the back of the head. It's a very large, round head because he's a very smart person, and that's a good shorthand for communicating in cartoons that someone is pretty intelligent. Like if you think of like Jimmy Neutron, you know. I think Jimmy Neutron's like his head is mostly hair, but language still works. And line of action is going to be a little bit like he's leaning on the crutches. So the body goes this way, the crutches go this way, comes together to form a single line of gravity. this big Superman chest. He's got a lot of upper body strength. He's got a lot of, like, you know. And usually what we do in these model sheets is we'll have we won't really always put the arms in the side view because the arms move around a lot. But because the arms of this character are important for maintaining balance, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw the arm whole as you usually would. And I'm gonna keep all the lines behind the arm, but I'm also just gonna draw the arm. And the crutch. Broad shoulders, remember. And then to make it subtler, the bend of his legs on the side view, because it's tilting a bit this way. Just bring the arm in a bit. I just wrote a note for myself right there that says facial hair defines upper lip. Let's bring that nose a little bit lower. I'm probably gonna write another note for myself that says lower lip juts out. A bit. Let's actually make that jutting out a little subtler. Lush lips. Tom Hardy. I'm being silly. Maybe we should bring in a little bit of cheekbone. Ooh, I like that. No, but people are going to forget that in animation. Now legs. Oh wait, I forgot about the butt. There we go. Now I have no longer forgotten about the butt. Let's actually define the shape language of this area. That's good. If we ever make an animation puppet of him, that's what we'll use. I'm not sure if we're going to go for a puppetry-based animation here. I think we're going to mimic closer the illustration style of the books and go for like a limited animation style. Heavy utilization of 2.5D, which is when you take a bunch of 2D transparent planes and move them in parallax with each other to create the illusion of 3D space. And it's a fun little trick. That animators have been using for ages. Like that's, when I was a kid, that's one of the first things I noticed, animation-wise, of like, oh, that's how they did that. Was I was watching Bambi and they used parallax like on my little VHS TV in my childhood bedroom, and I noticed that the way that they were moving the camera through the world was just, you know, planes, like 2D illustrations, just being moved on top of each other. And I don't know how many little kids notice that kind of thing. But I did, and I thought it was neat. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And I do now, regularly. Alright, so... Oh wait, we gotta get the back a little more defined, don't we? Okay, so it would be like, okay. I think. Oh well. Okay. Time for a pen test. There we go, that one's wet. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ink it. And we don't use black lines in our style. What we use is these really dark brown lines. because me and the intern coworker thought that that would bring a lot of warmth into the world as a whole. I mean, we use black lines for the set design, but that's mostly because I can't find a dark brown watercolor pen. Well, I mean, you can find a dark brown watercolor pen, but I meant was waterproof. And we really wanted these nice traditional watercolor backgrounds for the sets of this world. And I'm sure those little gear button things on the crutches will be forgotten in animation too. But that's okay. Oops. Oh, I'll fix that when I scan it in. Bit of neck here on this one angle. Usually what I do for these behind lines, if I were going digital, is I would use bright green on them. But because I'm in pen and ink, I'm just rendering them like lighter, like having less pressure on the page. Ah, heck. Oh well. And I just wrote down beard squiggles lighter brown than the rest of line art. Which I think is already known, but just in case, you know? And I think I'm gonna erase away some lines. And I'm starting over here because these lines have probably dried already. So it gives the profiles lines some more time to dry. And because, you know, this needs to be done anyway. Oh, this was a much cleaner sketch than the profile one. Probably because I did it like 3 times. How kind this man is. Such a kind face. And like, you know, don't judge a book by its cover at all. It's like, treat everyone that you see in life with respect. But when you're designing things, keep in mind the character traits and see if you can find ways to bring that out in the character's design. Like this man, he's intelligent, so I gave him a slightly larger head. He's kind, so I gave him these nice smiling eyes. He's, you know, he's strong in his own way, so I gave him this like big Superman chest and shoulders. Now I'm gonna go over some of these lines a bit more, because some of the ink got erased. And like when I was designing the mom, I already did her turnaround. But what I was thinking when I designed her was, this is a character who is steady and reliable and fashionable. And in charge of the situation she's in. So I tried to make her feel steady in the character design itself, you know? Like, I want her to be the kind of character who takes up the whole composition when she's in there. And TeeBee is small and round and curious and always discovering new things. So I brought as much round as I possibly could into TeeBee's character design. Whereas in Mom, I incorporated more like rounded square-like shapes. And in the Dad, there's a lot of like hidden trapezoids. Yeah. It's good to think about this kind of thing. Like, how do you want your character to feel? How do you want your character to be designed? Like, how the character looks, every part of it, like, especially in animation, you know, you have control over every single aspect of what the audience experiences. You have control over every single frame, every single design decision, everything. So think about how you want to communicate what you want to communicate. Think about how can I tell more of the story through my design decisions. Oh, this should be lower. Oh well. It's the profile, the back elements aren't as important. Okay. I always find the back part of a character a little bit trickier to do because you don't usually see the back of a character. You know, usually it's like a stage. You want the characters to be front and center. And you don't usually look like people don't usually study the backs of each other's heads. And on a stage, you know, usually you'd like what I'm doing here is I'm looking at my own hand to see how things would look. Maybe I should tilt this more this way. And this is tricky. I want the back to be curved, but like leaning forward, if that makes sense. Maybe if I bring the shirt higher, yeah, there we go. communicates that. And this is where the shoulder blades are. I find finding out where the shoulder blades are helps with the rest of like figuring out how the back works. Oh wait, that's right, it goes over this way. Oh, that fixes it. Oh, there we go. And you wouldn't see the thumb from this angle because he's from the other. Okay. I think we're ready for inking. Wait, where is the ear? Ear is higher. Another way to think of these crutches is that there is an invisible other side of it. You know? Like, it is 1/2 of the kind you'd usually find at like a, I don't know, a CVS if you wanted to get crutches from a CVS. I wouldn't recommend getting crutches from a CVS. I mean, talk to your doctor about it, especially if it's for, you know, everyday use, because I have a feeling that those are probably like they're $40. They can't be all that sturdy. But if you need to and you don't have another choice, you know, they exist. I would say if you use something every single day, invest a little bit more in it if you can. Like, I don't have a whole lot of money, but shoes, I try my best to save up money for shoes and have like one pair that I wear. I do have a couple pairs of shoes, but there's only one pair that I really wear on a regular basis. The others are for like either really beat up ones I have that I use for gardening or something, or, you know, like a pair of fancy shoes. I think I have 2 pairs of heels. One's boots, but I never wear them because my little sister destroyed them once. And the second pair, it's like, I guess, kitten heels that I don't wear a whole lot. They're nice, they're comfortable. I could if I wanted to, but I'm purposefully, like, you know, trying to keep them in good condition. I already had to take them to the cobbler once. Don't want to have to do that again. Oh, I should do a little light line here. There you go, so people know where that chest line is. And usually what people would do for these is they'd have 4 angles, one where it's like dead center on. I think this character is probably going to mostly be in this 3/4 position. So what I might do instead is I might focus my attention more on a motion cycle for this guy, so that there's a reference for how he moves. Because this is a character who would have a unique motion cycle. And I'm using, like, usually it's called a walk cycle. I like using the word motion cycle because I feel like it covers more options, and because, you know, not every character gets around by walking. You know, sometimes you'll have characters who fly instead, or who, like Punk, she uses a wheelchair. And I think I'm going to call that a day. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!